Okay, so this is your Unit 2 review for Honors 6th grade math. So it says Kim works 9.25 kilometers away from her home. Write a fraction that represents the distance from Kim's work to her home. So you got 9.25. So when I'm going to write a fraction, I'm going to ignore the 9, and I'm just going to focus on the 0.25. So I have 0.25. So this is the tens place, and this is the hundredths place. So that means I'm going to write 25 over 100. And I'm going to reduce it. Well, I know 25 goes into 100 4 times, and 25 divided by 25 is 1. So this is just a 1/4. So her fraction would be 1 1/4. Okay, number 2. On a recent trip, Brian's motorcycle used 3/8 of a tank of gas. Write a decimal and a percent to represent this amount. So the way I'm going to write a decimal is I take 3/8 and I'm going to change it by, I want to divide it to find the decimal form. So I'm going to divide 8 into 3. 8 goes into 3 0 times, so you add a decimal and a 0 in the house. 8 goes into 30 3 times, which is 24. You have 6 left over. Add another 0, bring that down. 8 goes into 60 7 times, which is 56. 40 left over. Bring that down, and 8 goes into 45 times. So my decimal is 0.375. Now I'm going to take this decimal. I'm going to find the percentage by using Dr. Pepper. So I'm at the D, so I need to go towards the P. So that means I have to go towards the right 2 times, since there's 2 letters. So I'm going to go 1, 2. So then you get 37.5%. So my 2 answers are over here. Okay. Number 3, Colby's volleyball team selected 18 girls from 120 girls who tried out for the team. Write a decimal that is equivalent to the fraction of girls selected for the group of girls who tried out from the team. Okay, so my fraction is 18 over 120. So I need to write a decimal. So to find a decimal of that, I need to divide it. So I'm going to divide 120 into 18. Well, 120 can't go in 18, so it goes in there 0 times. So you got a decimal and a 0. 120 goes into 180 once. You get 60 left over. Bring down a 0. 120 goes into 600 5 times, which is exactly 600. You get 0. So my decimal is 0.15. All right. Number 4, a list of numbers is shown below. Write a list that shows the numbers in ascending order. Ascending order means to go from least to greatest, L to the greatest. Descending would be greatest to least. So I want my smallest number. So my smallest number would be the first negative, which would be negative 0.04. So cross this off. I also need to change all these to decimals to be able to compare them. 34% is 0.34. 3/4 is 3/4, or 75 cents, or 0.75. And 2 over 5 is 2.50, so $2.50. So my next number will be 0.34, but that's not how they present it to us. So you need to write it as a 34% because that's how they gave it to us in the problem. So then we can cross this off. Next would be 3/4. Cross that off. Next would be $1.75. And then finally $2.50, but they gave it to us as 5 over 2. And that'd be our order. Okay, next one. Kim needs to order the numbers cards below from greatest to least. Please help Kim. Okay, so greatest to least, I want my greatest number. So what first I'm going to do is I'm going to change these to decimals. 1/5 is just 0.10. Or, excuse me, no it's not. Is 0.20. And the reason why, I'll show you since I messed up. 5 goes into 10 2 times. So it'd be 0.20 or 0.2. Negative 1/6 is actually going to be a repeating number. It would be negative 0.166 repeating. And then, so now we need the greatest number. So the greatest number will be 0.3. Then comes the 1/5. And then the negative 1/6 is the greatest because it's closer to 0 than negative 0.8. Okay, so that's number 5. Okay, number 6. Number 6, Presley bought sodas at the dollar store for lunches this week. The table below shows the amounts of each type of soda that she bought. Write a list that shows the weights of the sodas in ounces in order from lightest to heaviest. So we want the smallest to greatest, so least to greatest. So I need to change these to decimals. So 17/4 is 4.25. 3 1/5 will be 3.20. We actually figured out 1/5 on the previous slide. And 5/3 will be 1.6 repeating. So we want the smallest, so the smallest will be Pepsi. So Pepsi is gone. Next will be root beer. Next would be Dr. Pepper, or just DP. And then finally would be Coke. Come on, pin. There we go. So that is for number 6. All right, number 7. A cave is 9 feet below sea level. Which point on the number line best represents this location? So 9 feet below sea level. So that means that it has to be a negative. So it has to be, can't be D because that's greater than 10. It can't be, that's more than negative 10. Can't be C because it says it's greater than a positive 10. B is this, I would imagine, is 0. And then this is the closest one to negative 10. All right, number 8, a bag of Starburst contains 40 drops. The fraction of each flavor is shown either in the table or on the number line below. Use the information in the table on the number line. Which statement about this number of Starburst in the bag is true? All right, so I'm just going to read through the statement to see if I compare them without changing them to decimals. If not, we'll work through that. So F, there are more cherries than bananas. Okay, so a cherry is 1/4 and bananas are 1/3. Well, I know 1/4 is smaller than 1/3. And if I didn't, I know 1/4 is 25 cents and 1/3 is 0.33 repeating. So that means 0.33 is actually greater than 0.25. So F is wrong. G, they're the same number of bananas as oranges. Oranges is 3/9, which I know we can reduce down to 1/3. So 1/3 and 1/3 are the same. So G is correct. But H says there are more lemons than any other flavor. So lemons are 1/4. I already proved that there's more bananas than lemons anyways, so that's wrong. And there are less cherries than cotton candies. So cherries is 1/4 and cotton candy is 1/5. So 1/4 is already greater than 1/5. If you didn't know that, we already figured out 1/5 is 0.20. So that means cherries is greater than cotton candy. And this one says less, so that's not true. So the answer has to be G. All right, number 9. On your paper, I said places from least to greatest, and that's what we're going to do. To be able to compare these from least to greatest, we need to all have a common denominator. Well, a common denominator between these is a number 6. So I'm going to change all these to have a denominator of 6. So the way I get a 3 to a 6 is multiply by 2. So what you do bottom, you have to do to the top. So negative 21 times a positive 2 would be a negative 42. The way I get a 2 to a 6 is by multiplying by 3. So negative 7 times 3 is negative 21. Same thing here. I'm going to have to do 2 times 3 to get a 6. And 15 times 3 is a positive 45. And then I'm going to have 15 over 3 goes to 6. So 15 times 2 would be 30. So my least number will be the negative 42 over 6, but that's not how they gave us the information. So it would be negative 21 over 3. So this one goes away. And then it'll be my next negative, which will be negative, I was about to write negative 21 over 6, which will be negative 7 over 2. And the next one will be 15 over 3. And then finally 15 over 2. All right, last one, number 10. It says, what is the classification of 4.5? So since 4.5 is a decimal, it would be rational only. If I gave you negative 2, that would be integer. If I gave you a positive 2, we don't worry about the word natural. would be whole. All right, and that is your Unit 2 review. Thanks, guys.